Welcome back to Fireside Yankees. Well, yesterday was not exactly what we wanted to see from this Yankee team. Clay Holmes leads the MLB with 10 blown saves, Ryan. This is a problem. This is a big problem. Can we trust Clay Holmes? Can we trust him in a postseason situation when the score is 3-2 or 2-1 or 1-0? You can't even blank the freaking Detroit Tigers, a team sub 500 on the season. This is becoming an issue. Every time Clay Holmes steps on the mound, I'm like, I don't know if we're going to win this game anymore. And obviously Mark Leiter Jr., blowing it in the 10th inning as well, 2 singles and give Detroit the win there. That's a game the Yankees need to win, guys. Like, August needed to be our month to take a big step forward and really create this cushion in the American League East. Now we're up against the Cleveland Guardians, who have just been swept by the Milwaukee Brewers, but still a very dangerous team that could get hot at any given moment. Ryan, the pitching's been good. Aside from Leiter and Clay Holmes yesterday, the starting pitching has been really, really good. Of the last 5 games, the Yankees have not given up more than 3 runs. They need to be winning these games. If you are only giving up 3 runs maximum, and that was only one of the 5 games, you need to be winning these freaking games. So, what is your impression, your takeaway from yesterday? Do you trust Clay Holmes? We'll talk about what his problems are, the situation at hand, where he's kind of faltering. The underlying metrics look really good. Like, he ranks in the 100th percentile in ground ball rate, the 87th percentile in strikeout or in whiff rate. Like, he's doing good stuff here. His xERA is 2.79. Like, this is a guy who should be playing a lot better, and instead he leads the MLB in blown saves. What is happening? We believe we know why, or at least I have an idea of why. But Ryan, what is your takeaways from yesterday's game and the thoughts on Clay Holmes right now?
Yeah, it's weird because yesterday wasn't one of those games where somebody could reasonably go, oh, he doesn't miss enough bats, that's why that happened. He struck out 3 guys. He struck out over half of the batters he faced. It wasn't, oh, he doesn't miss enough bats. I think that he doesn't miss enough bats thing is probably overblown, right? He has a higher strikeout rate than Emmanuel Clase. If you think Emmanuel Clase can't close games, I think you're an idiot. Emmanuel Clase might be the best closer in baseball. Not might, but I think he is the best closer in baseball. I do, and I also think there's a couple of things that are in play here. Number one, I think that his command in zone against the Tigers with that sinker was really rough. I thought he gave them hittable pitches. I do think there is some luck involved here and some negative luck that isn't going his way. I definitely think there is some luck that isn't going his way. I also think, can a guy get unlucky for 50 innings? Yeah, I think so, right? Look, what was Marcus Stroman's ERA for his first 50 innings? What was Carlos Rodon's ERA for his first 50 innings? What was Austin Wells' WRC plus to his first 50 games? I think it's completely possible to be lucky for 50 games. It's possible to be unlucky for 162. Even whenever we're talking about production that relies on things that you can't control, it's possible to be unlucky for a very long period of time. At some point, it does have to swing your way, and that's not saying it's his xERA is this, it's not frustrating when he blows a save. That's not what I think either of us are going to conclude, or either of us feel, or either of us think. But I think for me, it's hard to ignore every metric saying he should be better than he is. He still keeps the ball on the ground. He's starting to miss more bats. The strikeout rate's actually ticking up as of late. He's throwing more breaking balls. It's just command. Whether it's command in terms of, walks, where that usually bites him. Whether it's command in terms of, in-zone command, where it's a guy who isn't, locating everything he needs to in zone. This is crazy. He over his last 6 outings, he has struck out 52.4% of batters faced. He has also, over that stretch, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's blown 2 saves. So, I didn't even... Dude, is it bad that I don't remember the Blue Jays one? I don't remember the Blue Jays one.
They're just all starting to become one monotonous blown save. There's too many of them.
It's weird.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is he has a career-high 26 saves this season, right? You're going to blow some saves. Even the best guys blow some saves. But we're talking about he could have 36. You know what I mean? In a perfect world. Right now he has 26. He still has a career high in saves in less innings than he's pitched in the last 2 years. So, he's gotten the job done on many occasions. He was a lot better during the first half of the season. But look, here's the argument I'm gonna present to you, Ryan. I want you to give me your honest take here. A great Clay Holmes is one of the best closers in the game. When he is on, he's untouchable. He's untouchable, right? But when he's off, the guy blows more saves than he saves. So the question is here, do you wait until he's back on again because of that volatility, right? Like every now and then, like he'll get hot and then he'll get ice cold. He'll get hot and it's kind of back and forth here. We don't really see ever like that consistent just dominance for a full season. Do you think that the Yankees have to wait this out and hope he gets hot at the right time? Or do you think that they need to start considering other options here? Is Clark Schmidt another option here? Like when he comes back, Stroman's looked excellent the last 2 starts. 1 earned run given up over his last 2 performances. So that's really, really good. Nestor Cortez looked better. Like, you know, if you're the Yankees and your starting rotation starts to kind of pick things up here and things are looking more sustainable, are you thinking about putting Clark Schmidt as a closer? Is that a role that you could foresee him playing? Is Ian Hamilton someone you want to get more opportunities with in that high leverage spot when he comes back? You know, he was not very good at the beginning of the season. Obviously, he was injured and then he gets placed on the IL. What is your solution with the pieces that we do have? Because I get why they keep force feeding Holmes, because they know that if he gets hot, he's going to be untouchable. But the question is he going to get hot at the right time? The Yankees are hoping that a lot of pieces on this team heat up at the exact right moment. It's not going to happen. I mean, not everyone's going to get hot at the exact moment and then sustain it for a month, right? It's not possible. It's not realistic. But they do have pieces that can do that, and they need to get lucky. Are you still giving Clay Holmes this job, or is there anybody else you think could walk in here and actually earn some reps?
It's tough because, again, like I think there are things that Clay Holmes is doing better. Like I think he's throwing his sliders more. I think that's an important adjustment for him to make over his last since July 26th. So that's his last. I'm trying to find the games. Over his last 10 games, he's thrown 31.3% sinkers, 68% sliders. He has struck out 33% of batters faced over that stretch. He hasn't allowed a home run. He hasn't allowed a barrel. He's keeping the ball on the ground, actually at a higher clip. He has a 70% ground ball rate. But Alex, over that stretch, he's blown 4 saves, right? So it's really tough because like he is doing like that over that stretch. He's getting more ground balls. He's striking out more batters. He isn't allowing hard contact. I should be telling you that Clay Holmes is on fire right now, and he's not. It's a very strange and weird and hard to really put together kind of situation where I almost think that it has to turn around. I almost think that he has to get some things to go his way at some point. I almost think that like it's weird that it hasn't gone his way. It's weird that it hasn't swung in his direction. He's having a really weird year. Like, he's having a really weird year where if you're going to project his performance in 2025, you actually give him some pretty strong projections because everything under the hood has gotten better. I look at guys like Luke Weaver, like Tommy Canley, where they've pitched really well late. Jake Cousins has been really good as of late. You know, Michael Tonkin, as a whole on the season, has pitched pretty well. But it's you kind of got to ride or die with Clay Holmes. He either figures it out or he doesn't. If he doesn't, it is what it is. If he does, great. I think this team will win the World Series. But you can't, like, what if Luke Weaver starts blowing saves? What if Tommy Canley starts blowing saves? What if I don't think Michael Tonkin's going to get the closer job, but let's say Michael Tonkin gets it. What if he starts blowing saves? Leiter Jr. not pitching really well has really hurt them. He got off to a really good start here, and then it's kind of fallen off the last few outings. I hope he can get back online. I think he can. It's just a matter of if it happens or not. You hope to get a guy like Trevino back, the reliever, of course. You already have the catcher back, and I think he can help you. You mentioned Schmidt. I still want Schmidt to start. I still think Schmidt should start. You know, what he did as a starter was really impressive. I want him in that role. It's this team. I'm not saying you live or die on Clay Holmes, but I'm not like when a guy starts missing more bats after they make an adjustment and giving up less damage contact. I shouldn't like. I don't know. Like I'd rather be a slave to the data than a slave to my emotions, I guess. And the numbers say you should be pitching better, and that's where I got to be at. You know what I mean? Whether the fan in me feel, look, I'm not gonna lie. Like Alex, my heart starts beating fast whenever he comes into the ninth. But that's again like part of what you and I sought out to do with Fireside Yankees, and part of what we have to do as trying to cover this team is to be able for even those moments where we're really frustrated, be transparent about the numbers, right?
Right.
It's not comfortable to have Clay Holmes in the ninth right now. It's not. That's reality. but he's also missing more bats, and he's also keeping the ball on the ground more, and there is some luck involved there. It's just a question of, like, now, like, Clay Holmes has to find it. It almost has to start. They don't play today, but it has to start today, right? Like, it has to start, like, he has to go on a tear at some point. If he doesn't, we're fucked. Like, we're not, I don't think we're doing anything in October. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to read you exactly what I wrote this morning and why I believe he is struggling. And it really comes down to one simple thing, and you said it earlier. It's his sinker. And he's throwing the slider more. The sinker usage has decreased by, like, more than 10% this season compared to last. So you're seeing a massive difference. And the reason for that is because it's not performing well. And I'll read you exactly verbatim what I wrote this morning. A deeper look into Holmes' arsenal reveals why he has been so volatile this season. His sinker, previously one of his strongest pitches, has deteriorated significantly. Currently, Holmes uses his sinker 55.5% of the time, but it now allows a 348 batting average, and a 470 slugging rate. Noticeable declines from last year's 260 batting average and 343 slugging rate. So you're seeing a massive difference. Although his slider and sweeper remain effective, Holmes is struggling to locate his sinker, and batters are increasingly able to anticipate his movement. This year, the pitch has lost 1.3 inches of vertical drop and nearly an inch of horizontal movement. So, Ryan, why is it that sinker has lost over an inch in horizontal movement, an inch in vertical movement, and has gained half a mile an hour in velocity, right? Why is it moving less, but more velocity? Is there a change that needs to be made there to get that movement back? I don't know what it is. Is it location? Is it confidence? I'm not exactly sure, but the pitch looks good. Like, it looks fine. I mean, the break difference it's marginal, but it does make a difference. But the velocity, it should be performing better. I just don't necessarily know. Sinkers traditionally kind of get batted a little bit more anyway, but that is a major difference. 470 slugging to 383. I mean, it's a massive difference.
Yeah, his sinker, that's another thing too. Like, when you can't reliably locate your fastball in zone, you can't have the confidence to throw that sinker in zone and get the kind of contact you're looking for. Granted, on one hand, right, again, like, should the Yankees be converting some of those ground balls into outs? Absolutely, right? You have to judge sinkers a little bit differently than you judge sliders, because sinkers, fastballs in general, are naturally going to perform better than, like, sliders are going to perform better than sinkers. That's just reality, right? But if we compare his xWOBA even from this year to last year, it's 336 to 305, right? So there is a clear, sharp regression here. Do I think teams are better geared up to hit a sinker? Yes. I think teams have never been more prepared to hit that pitch, because I think they've seen it more often. It's less unique. It's no longer like the kind of pitch that teams can't really pick up, if that makes sense. He's just, it's such a sharp and it's such a disappointing regression too, Alex, because I feel like the breaking balls, like, dude, he has two of the best breaking balls. Like, how many guys have two dominant breaking balls like he does? He has a sweeper and a slider that, you can throw it to righties, throw it to lefties, and they're dominant offerings. And if you could just get that sinker online, he'd be having a career year. I mean, he was having a career year. He opened the year having a career year. Did I think it was fugazi? Did I think it was going to probably slow down? Yeah, it was probably going to slow down at some point.
Of course.
But it's tough, man. It's tough. If you look at those blown saves, and I'm not going to go through all of them, because there are some where they're just bad. Yesterday was just bad. Shouldn't blow that save. He blew a save against the Blue Jays where he allowed a sac fly to score. Is that really a blown save? You know what I mean?
Like, blew it against the Rangers. I don't remember that game.
Yeah, I'm just going through blown saves, just the blown ones.
Okay.
It's like giving up a sac fly when there are a bunch of guys already on. Like, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna just, that's a blown save by definition. But I'm not gonna. It's pretty tacky, that one, right? The Phillies one where it's like a bunch of ground balls and then he throws a wild pitch and it's a blown save. It's like, should he have thrown the wild pitch? No. Did the guys reach because of some bad luck? Yeah.
Maybe.
The two Boston blown saves, I think, were just bad. He just pitched poorly in both of those outings. The Baltimore one, where, like, it's an error by Volpe, it's an error by Verdugo. I don't think walking two lefties is bad if you're Clay Holmes, because we just saw when he doesn't walk them, sometimes he gets beat. He should have converted that save. That isn't really on him, but, that save should have been converted. The one against the Royals, that's on him. The one where they blow that series, that's on him, right? The Seattle one, bad luck, but also probably on him. The Arizona one was a blown save, and it was a really ticky-tacky. a lot of his blown saves. You mentioned the Texas Rangers one, and I'm actually glad you mentioned it. I'd argue he pitched worse in that outing, and he got the save. He did not blow the save. Clay Holmes converted that save. Mm-hmm. He pitched better in that. He pitched way worse in that outing than I think he did against Philadelphia, and I think he did against Baltimore. I'd argue he pitched worse in that outing than he did against Detroit last night. Not to say that blown saves are not, they aren't bad, but I do think there is some element to, like, there's some weird luck here involved, that how you pitch in a one-inning sample size, it can't always be reflected in your ERA or how many runs come across the score. I mean, one of the blown saves, he didn't give up an earned run, which is pretty crazy to think about. He didn't give up an earned run in a blown save. Like, that's baseball. He's going through it right now. He has, it's tough, man. Like, it's tough because, like, I don't want to sit, I can't sit here and try to, go through this without also acknowledging it's still bad that we're talking about these situations. It's still bad that, like, I don't know if he's converting it. Maybe it's a defense thing. Maybe the Yankees aren't positioned right defensively. Maybe the Yankees aren't, looking enough at batter trends against Clay Holmes. Maybe they're doing things like going the other way more often. The Yankees aren't adjusting for that. I saw John Boy going around about this, about, like, the whole, like, where they're shifted, the positioning, and I think he's got a point. They're throwing outside sinkers and you're shifted to the right side. What the fuck are we doing, right? Like, that's a little weird. That's not trying to deflect blame away from Holmes. It's just saying, like, when we're talking about, I think, again, there's an element to you can be lucky over 50 games. There are things that are causing there are things that he's doing to invite bad luck. There's a lot of things. I think that everyone's right to an extent. I don't think it's enough to move him off the closer position. I don't know if that's going to get me in trouble with some people. I don't really care. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know, man. Weaver is good, but, like, he also had that one out against Texas. I don't know. It's also not like Weaver's strike rate's a lot higher.
Listen. Yeah. I'll say this: the blown save is bad, and it's Clay. And Holmes can be blamed. There's a lot of people to blame. I know you saw probably Jason Dominguez double clutching that throw. That should have been in there in the 10th inning. Yankees may have got that guy out, for all we know. But the truth is this: this offense has to score more than one freaking run against the Detroit Tigers. How about that? You know what I mean? Clay Holmes, yeah, sure, don't blow that save, but guys, like, you're scoring one run against the freaking. I know it's Scuball, and obviously he's a monster. He was a 2.79 ERA this year.
He walked 4 guys though. He wasn't on. He didn't. I didn't feel like Scuball was like, it was the best. Like, we've seen Scuball. We saw him once earlier this year. He gave up 2 runs, excuse me. But dude, that man was sharp that day. He was excellent that day. And we want to talk about how well Scuball pitched. Again, he had 27% whiff rate, and he had an average exit velocity of 90 miles an hour allowed. So we did not get the best version of Tariq Scuball.
Yeah,
but they had 4 relievers come into that game.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest though. Look at our lineup right now. I mean, you get Trevino, who's in general not a good offensive player, right? Especially against a great pitcher like this. I mean, Volpe's been cold. DJ LeMahieu stinks. Ben Rice has been cold. Peraza was just called up. They called up Dominguez the same freaking day to go and then play, and she strikes out 3 times. The bottom half of this order is bad. Bad. Just blatantly bad. I mean, I didn't expect Dominguez to come in and, like, make a big impact immediately against one of the best pitchers in the sport. That's one hell of a way to introduce him this season to the MLB. Like, way to absolutely ruin this dude's confidence. Call him up and have him go up against the best pitcher in baseball. Like, I mean, look, I'm happy they promoted him, but, like, calling up and then sending him back down, like, what's the point of that?
It's the most obvious form of service time manipulation I've ever seen in my life. Like, I've never seen that. Was like, yeah, he can hit 5th for this team. He's not ready though. It's like,
no.
Yeah,
I mean, he lost his hot streak.
They're trying to keep his rookie status. Look, I think he'll be fine. Like, the guy still has. The guy is still, like, the guy has a career 132 WRC plus the major league level. Like, he had 4 rough play appearances.
He hit a home run off of freaking Verlander last year or 2 years ago. Was it? No, it was last year. So I'm not worried about Dominguez. Don't get me wrong. I'm not worried about Dominguez. What I'm more so saying is, like, the bottom half of this order looks like a disaster. Like, why was Peraza playing third base? I mean, I get he hit a home run the other day, but Cabrera's been really good. You know, I mean, they gave him 2 plate appearances. He made contact at least. LeMahieu had a hit and an RBI. Man, I guess he made an impact. He had a walk. He didn't strike out, so that's positive. But, you know, Volpe's been pretty bad recently. Just the bottom half of this entire group here, not very good. But, like, that said, the top half struck out 5 times. The first 3 batters struck out 5 times. Stanton had the best day, you know, with 2 hits. So kind of an interesting situation for the Yankees where they're really struggling to score runs recently. I mean, over the last 2 games, they've scored 0 and 2. And then they scored 3 in this series against Detroit, one of the worst teams in baseball, by the way. You know, they've been better recently, but they're still not a great team. They've scored no more than 4 runs. And then against the White Sox, they had that one big 10-run game. But the other 2 games, they scored 4 and 2. So you could argue this offense is underperforming. They have a lot of guys that are kind of bad right now. Gleyber Torres is, you know, okay at leadoff, but not great. And we miss Jazz, man. We miss Jazz a lot. And that's kind of the end-all, be-all of this conversation. We miss Jazz Chisholm significantly. So hopefully he comes back. I mean, he said he's going to be back after the 10-day IL spell. That is positive. I don't know. I don't buy that. He's been saying stuff like this for a while, like a week. He was like, I don't feel pain. I'm coming back, you know, blah, blah, blah. But the Yankees are like, dude, like, your elbow is hurt. Like,
apparently he did this with Miami. Apparently with Miami, he would, like, say, like, I'm going to be back. And then Marlon's like, you're not playing, man. Like, you got to relax. I think also, like, the problem that, like, didn't get addressed, I think is a lot more concerned than either the bullpen or the rotation. Like, I think they'll be able to pitch. Like, they've pitched better lately. They can't hit lefties. They really don't have options against lefties, and that's really concerning. Dominguez is a better left-handed hitter than a right-handed hitter, so that's not really one of the options to me. They don't really have competent right-handed hitting, and that's concerning. Like, who's their right-handed hitter? Who's their big, like, outside of Judge and Stanton? Like, it kind of goes downhill pretty quickly from there.
We hoped it was Gleyber, but
we did hope it was. Like, Gleyber was supposed to be that. This team was not supposed to be bad against lefties. They just are.
No.
They just happen to be, and it's really weird and strange and confusing and perplexing. It's a lot of different things, and there's no, like, it's not the answer. If your answer is, well, just call up Durbin, well, just do this. Like, if your answer is call up a prospect to solve an overarching issue with the team, I think that's crazy talk. Like, I think you're asking for trouble. I also think it's a little weird because, like, a lot of teams, like, the other thing that's important to know, Alex, is that, like, a lot of other teams are really deeply flawed that also happen to be sharing a competitive space with the Yankees. Like, the Orioles are a hilariously flawed team. They're just as flawed as we are. Their pitching is abysmal. They have one good starting pitcher, probably. 2. I'll go Eflin. Eflin's pretty good. Everyone else just doesn't really inspire much confidence in terms of, like, playoff starters. The bullpen's on fire, like, not in a good way. It's a lot of gas. They pour gasoline on the fire instead of putting it out. Their offense is really good, obviously. I think ours is potentially a little bit better. I think ours is just a tad bit better, not by much. They're just a weird team. They're also struggling. The Phillies, you know, they've struggled for a while. We faced them. We beat them pretty good. The Dodgers have, like, they're only 3 up on the Padres. They've opened up that division race. It's weird. They're the whole league, right? Like, I can't really tell you that these guys are. I can't tell you that anyone's walked away and really shown me their leagues above the Yankees. So I think that's something that both kind of frustrates me because it means they should be playing better and they should be separating themselves from other teams. But on the other hand, right, like, they're not out of it. Anyone saying that they're a first round exit, no. Everyone looks ugly this year right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of flaws. And a lot of these top teams, even the Guardians are seeing, they just got swept by the Brewers and they could not score. The Yankees they have red flags. We're concerned for sure, but it really comes down to luck. Like, at the end of the day, it's who gets hot at the right time, right? That was the Texas Rangers, man, or even the D-backs a couple years ago when they made it to the World Series. Like, the D-backs should not have gotten there. They just got really hot at the right time and beat some really freaking good teams to get there. The Yankees can do the same thing. It's just a matter of getting hot at the right time.
The Rangers had a 5.01 ERA in the second half of that season from their bullpen.
Yeah,
their bullpen.
They got hot at the right time. Jordan Montgomery had the postseason of his freaking life, and he sucks this year. He sucks. So, you know, it just takes a little luck, the right guys to get hot. And the Yankees have that talent. They have the talent. It's just a matter of doing it when it matters. When the postseason rolls around, You know what happens to everyone's averages? 0. They get reset. Everyone goes back to 0. Gleyber Torres, all your struggles, all your bad moments, 0. Nobody gives a shit. You know, make the play at second base. Get the big hit. Alex Verdugo, hit a home run. It's been 2 months. You know, do it when the clock's at 0. Aaron Judge, I know his numbers in the postseason are pretty bad. 0, got a hit. Juan Soto, you've won a chip, buddy. You're leading the charge here. In my opinion, Juan Soto is leading that postseason charge because he's done it. He knows what it takes. He's got to lead those guys along with Judgy. Volpe, get on base, do your dance. You know, do what you got to do, man. Like, these guys got to play the small ball. They got to be disciplined. But you can't go into the postseason playing undisciplined baseball because it will bite you. But, you know, guys, always happy to hear your thoughts about Clay Holmes, this team, your thoughts on the volatility, weaknesses, red flags, things you might be positive about. Always happy to hear those as well. I know a lot of people like to talk about the negative stuff, but the positive stuff is there is some. Stroman's been a lot better. So we like to see that. And, you know, he's been pretty bad over the last month or two. So those 2 really quality starts are encouraging, but we'll see what happens when Clark Schmidt returns and whatnot. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. I'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.